What makes you so special? The fact that you are special. But if everybody's special, that kinda waters it down. So some of you ain't special. I can tell you who is special. Like you and you ain't special, and you are and you're not.
Well, hello there, and thank you for joining me for a Princess Peach Showtime ranking list. That's right, since I've officially finished the game, I thought it was only appropriate to make some kind of ranking list, because that's how I do on this channel. So today I'm going to be focusing on the transformation outfits in Princess Peach Showtime, and ranking them based on how useful they would be in real life. There's wall running and sword fighting and skating real good. That being said, some of these powers are just more useful in the day-to-day life of an average person than some of the other ones. And that's what this video is going to be about. So what? I really only have two criteria for what would make an outfit more useful than the others, and that is versatility and day-to-day use potential. So, the more versatile an outfit is, the more useful it is, because, well, it can be applied to a variety of situations. The more situations you can apply it to, the more useful it'll be. Furthermore, the more day-to-day use potential it has, the more likely that you would be to use it every day, which again, would make it more useful.
Duh.
So something that is useful day to day and also has a variety of applications is going to rank higher on this list than something that is only useful day to day or only has a variety of applications. You'll see when we get into it. So with that in mind, let's get started by getting into the ranking. And we're going to start with the least useful of the outfits, and that is Figure Skater Peach. There is nothing wrong with Figure Skater Peach. I love Figure Skater Peach. I think Elsa Peach is awesome. I think being a figure skater is super fun, but that being said, that is all that outfit does, is it makes you a real good skater. Now, I am by no means a figure skater in any sense of the word, but I do know how to ice skate, and I have used that ability exactly like 3 times in my entire life. Is it possible that I would use it more if I had the ability to flawlessly figure skate? Sure. But again, how useful is that in your day-to-day life? How often are you figure skating? The only way that would really be useful is if I was some kind of professional figure skater, like an Olympian. And I couldn't even enter the Olympics because I think it's wrong to use performance-enhancing magic to make yourself better than your competitors. That's cheating! But still, even if there was a larger variety of uses that I could use it for, it still is only one skill, is ice skating, or figure skating, I should say. And that's just, it's just not useful enough. And right after Figure Skater Peach, we have Detective Peach. Detective Peach is probably one of the weakest powers in the game. Scratch that, it is the weakest power in the game. The only reason it's number 11 on this list instead of number 12 is that you can use the powers to find certain clues, like footprints and fingerprints and whatnot, but still, those are only certain clues. You can't use your detective powers to like find your missing keys or something. It's only certain clues that you can use your magnifying glass detective powers for. Furthermore, this power is really only as good as the player's detective skills themselves, right? Of all of the powers that are offered in this game, this is really the only one that asks you to totally rely on your own skills.
This is not helpful at all.
The only thing that the Detective Peach power actually brings to the table is the ability to point at someone and yell really loud that you think that they did something. And I can point and yell loudly at suspects already. I already have the ability to do that. So really, the Detective Peach offers not a lot. It brings not much to the table except for a very cute Sherlock Holmes cosplay, so that's something, I guess. Now, only marginally more useful than the Detective Peach outfit would have to be the Sword Fighter Peach outfit. The Sword Fighter Peach outfit does come with a lot of nimble moves, right? She's able to dodge really easily and counterattack really well, and that is definitely something that could be applied to various scenarios. That being said, not that many scenarios. Like, I think it would just generally make you more nimble. That being said, a lot of the other outfits do the same thing, and also come with other benefits too. But really, how often would I use a sword fighting ability? Never. I wouldn't. I once learned fencing in summer camp when I was 11. have never come close to the concept of sword fighting again. Not even a little bit. So it just seems like it would never really be a very useful skill to have in your day-to-day life. Really, the ability to dodge, that quick dodge that she does, that's really what's making this so high up on the list. And by so high up, I mean number 10 out of 12. Moving on from Sword Fighter Peach, we have Dashing Thief Peach. I was actually really surprised at how low this was on the list, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that being a thief is not very useful to me personally. I'm sure there are some people for whom this ability would be very helpful. But those would be people who would want to steal things. The game went through a lot of effort to make it clear that Peach was only stealing in order to steal back of things that were otherwise already stolen to begin with, which made them okay. How often do you run into that in your real life? You don't. If I were to be a thief, I would be thieving. Like, straight up, I'd be stealing things.
That's how it works.
That being said, this power does come with disable locks, which I do think is actually pretty helpful for me in general. I would never get locked out of anything ever again, which I think would be pretty cool. It would be a pretty useful skill to have. And I wish I could say that hookshot is on the same level, that it is also a very cool skill to have. Because in most cases, I would say, yeah, I would love to have a hookshot. But if you look at Dashing Thief Peach, when she uses the hookshot, she uses it exclusively with the drones that the thief sent out. Which means I can only hookshot onto the drones. That is wildly limiting. That means I have to have those drones with me everywhere I go. Everywhere I want a hookshot. And you know what? There are some no-fly zones for drones. So what do I do then?
Guess I'll just give up.
And speaking of no-fly zones, there are also no-fly zones in cities for things like hang gliders, I presume. I don't actually know if that's true, but I can't imagine a single city would allow you to jump off one of their tall buildings and hang glide down. So I couldn't use the hang glider in any populated area, which means I would just be I could just go hang gliding anyway in my day-to-day life. The only difference is that Peach has got some killer hang gliding moves, I will give her that. She's clearly more talented at the sport than I will ever hope to be.
That's a given.
Also, I do have to admit that hang gliding does come with a certain set of muscles that need to be developed. I'm pretty sure core and arm muscles are involved in that. So I think that's pretty helpful just in general. I think the more muscles you have, the more useful they are in life. You can lift heavy things and they're just better for your health and all those reasons.
Those are good reasons.
Having a solid set of muscles is also one of the useful elements for Kung Fu Peach, who is next on our list. What a transition that was. But it is true, Kung Fu Peach clearly has a good set of muscles on her. She has clearly not ever skipped leg day, and it shows. And on top of that, she's got amazing balancing skills. She can balance on one foot on one of them, like those poles, you know? The poles?
Poles.
That takes a wild amount of muscle and core strength. Good lord. Plus, you'd be able to use your fighting skills for any self-defense issues that might come up. It's not something that I think comes up very often. It's not like every single day I have to whip out the self-defense skills, but it also isn't something that I don't ever need. Like, everyone should have self-defense skills handy in their back pocket, just in case. And we can't say that Kung Fu Peach can't defend herself, because she very, very clearly can. But that being said, beyond self-defense, most of Kung Fu Peach's skills are centered in fighting, and I don't fight. I've never been in a fight. I don't ever plan to be in a fight. What? It's just, there are no situations in which I see fighting skills being necessary in my day-to-day life. And that's why I've placed this so low on the list, because it doesn't come with other skills that I think I could apply in different situations. Speaking of not being able to apply skills in different situations, the next ability on our list is Patisserie Peach. This outfit is a lot like the figure skating outfit or the detective outfit in that it really only comes with one ability, and that's to be like a real good baker. Like, that's it. She makes very good cookies and makes very pretty cakes, and that is the entirety of the patisserie peach levels. So that's why I can't put this higher up on the list, because there is just one thing that it offers you. That being said, the one skill that it offers is pretty damn applicable in real life. I can say this because I myself fancy myself to be a nominally good baker. I think I'm definitely better than a lot of people, and definitely not on the professional level, but I'm pretty proud of what I make every time I make it.
Look what I made!
Also, being able to be an amazing baker would allow you to just bake things for your friends and family, and so you would never even have to get a job as a baker, per se, in order to apply these skills. You could get a job as a baker, and I think that would be way less ethically problematic than, say, entering a baking competition, which you shouldn't do if you have magic baking abilities. But if you have magic baking abilities and you decide to open a bakery, I think there's no problem with that. I would open a bakery if I had magic baking abilities. If I was Patisserie Peach, I would do it. I would open a patisserie, I would make croissants, I would make pain au chocolat, I would make eclairs, I would make all kinds of fucking things. You couldn't stop me. I mean, I guess you could try. Probably with murder. Murder stops most things. Moving on to a skill that is a little more varied, we have Ninja Peach. Ninja Peach, a lot like Kung Fu Peach, comes with a good set of muscles. You get core, you get leg muscles, you get solid arm muscles, it's all there. That means just like with Kung Fu Peach, you have self-defense as a skill just in your back pocket, which is always useful, even if it doesn't come into day-to-day use. It is just good to have. It's good knowledge. Ninja Peach has a lot of niche, useful skills that I think would be useful once or twice in your life, but would eventually be useful. Like, I can't actually think of a reason why I would need wall running, but I just feel like it would be good to have. The ability to run on a wall would make things a lot easier.
How?
How? I don't actually know. I just feel in my heart that it's true. Additionally, the hiding skill. Like, objectively speaking, when was the last time that you hid somewhere? You haven't, really. Unless you've played hide and seek recently. It's just not something you ever do. But imagine a scenario in which someone breaks into your house. Suddenly, Ninja Peach is the best skill to have. You could hide, sneak up behind them, and then kick their ass.
Surprise attack style.
So I think that's why Ninja Peach is so useful. Despite the fact that all of the skills are so niche, they are all so useful in those niche moments that I think it balances out. Now we're starting to move on to the more useful of the skills, and I cannot believe that number 5 is what it is, but Cowgirl Peach is number 5. When I started this list, I was sure that Cowgirl Peach would be lower on the list because I am not a cowgirl, nor have I ever been one. Nor will I ever be one. That being said, the more I thought about it, the more I realized just how useful the lasso skill actually is. It appears that you can lasso pretty much anything as long as it's of a certain size. Now, this is an extremely personal example, but my sister got a dog recently, and she's still got all that puppy energy. And I just very recently, like this afternoon, had to lunge at her and catch her before she almost ran out the door. It would be a lot easier if I was just able to lasso that little lassie. Plus, I mean, I could get things from across the room without having to get up. Like, if my remote is across the room, just lasso that baby over, you know? Wha-bam!
Everything tastes better when it's lassoed.
And, you know, this has never happened to me ever, but, like, what if one day I'm just walking down the street and I see, like, a little kid in the middle of the street and a bus is coming right at him? Lasso that kid out of the way. Will that ever happen? No, but what if it did? Also, on top of all of that, Cowgirl Peach comes with horseback riding skills. Not just even, like, vague horseback riding skills, but solid, excellent horseback riding skills. That being said, I have ridden a horse exactly 5 times in my life, and those 5 times all took place within 1 week at horse camp when I was 8.
Hey! Horse camp!
So I can't say, oh, being able to ride a horse is so useful, because I've never had the need to ride a horse, and I don't think I'm going to have the need to ride a horse. But again, if we're going to be humoring potentials, then this is one potential that definitely needs to be humored. Because who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day we're gonna be in an apocalypse, and I would desperately need to know how to ride a horse. Because there's no energy. Who knows?
Not me.
Alright, moving on from Cowgirl Peach, we move on to another outfit that I really didn't think was gonna be this high up on the list, and that's Radiant Peach. I really thought I wasn't gonna put Radiant Peach this high up on the list at all, mainly because at first the only power I thought of was her shooting that star at Madame Grape, which is, like, when would I ever use that in real life? Ever.
Not even once.
I suppose you could argue maybe that would be a self-defense tool, but I have no idea how powerful that is. It could either just be like nothing, and I just hit my attacker with light and they say, "What are you doing?" Or it could be so powerful that I blow their head off. Which I think it's more likely to be the latter, honestly. We were using these power stars against Madame Grape, who we all can agree was pretty damn powerful. So if I'm just using this star attack against your average mugger, there's a good chance that I'm just gonna blow this guy to smithereens, and that hardly seems fair. If I have to choose between me or the mugger, sure, I'm gonna choose me, but I would prefer not to kill anyone, as a general rule. So, why is Radiant Peach number 4 on this list? Because she can fly. That's why, I forgot. But she can fly, and that puts this ability at number 4. Because the ability to fly is like, it's a lot of people's dreams, and mine included. I don't even want to fly high, by the way. I don't want to go up with the planes or anything. I'm just talking about more like vaguely hovering. She can do that. She can just hover in midair. Can you imagine? I would never have to walk anywhere again. Lazy ass bitch I am.
That's the dream.
But more than that, as long as it wasn't raining, I could just fly to work every day. I could fly to the store every day. I could do whatever I wanted. Everything would be so much faster. Plus, you don't know this about me, except for Jordan. Jordan knows this about me. But I'm short. I'm 5'4", which means that I can't reach the top of many shelves. And it would be nice to just be able to just lift myself up briefly, pick up what I need, and just set back down. I could definitely do that as Radiant Peach.
That's the dream.
So if Radiant Peach is number 4, I think we all understand what number 3 is gonna be. That's right, Super Radiant Peach. Why? Well, literally for every reason I just stated about Radiant Peach. She can fly, and how useful is that? Plus, you get an even prettier dress. I didn't mention the pretty dress in the Radiant Peach one, but that is a bonus for Radiant Peach too. You get a pretty dress, and with Super Radiant Peach, you get an even prettier dress. But on top of all of that, instead of shooting stars, you shoot a beam. Now, I know for a fact the beam would kill anybody in a self-defense situation. That would be a last resort. But the beam could have other uses. Like if I needed a flare in an emergency situation, I could fire the beam into the air and the helicopters could see. That's the only other use I can think of at the moment, but you know, that's something.
Is it though?
Have I ever needed to do that? No, but you know, that's way more likely than a lot of the other scenarios I've laid out in this list so far. I fly places. My plane could crash. I could need a flare. You don't know. Also, one more thing that I want to add that I just now thought of is that in a self-defense situation where I would need to shoot the magic beam or the magic stars at my attacker, if I'm Radiant Peach or Super Radiant Peach, I could just fly away. I could just defuse the situation entirely by leaving.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Okay, folks, we're down to our last two, the two most useful transformation outfits in Princess Peach Showtime, in my opinion. Number 2 is Mermaid Peach. I bet a lot of people thought that this would be lower on the list, and most people who thought that this would be lower on the list most likely first thought about the singing and communicating with fish. And that's fair, because the singing and communicating with fish are both kind of limited. right? Like, yes, the ability to sing really well and really beautifully can be helpful if you want to pursue that professionally or whatever, but it's also not a guarantee. Even the most beautiful singers in the world aren't guaranteed to be successful in the music industry. Especially the type of music that we hear Peach sing. You sound like you'd be more operatic in your singing as opposed to pop singing. So it would be harder to break into opera. It's not for everyone, that genre.
We hate opera!
And of course, communicating with fish is useful in some way. Aquaman has proved that to us, but Aquaman has also proved to us that it's a limited power. You can really only use it when you're amongst the fish, right?
Oh, you're in for it now, buddy. I got like 5 fish coming to help. Oh, here they are.
I'm not actually around fish all that often, but I do believe that if I was able to communicate with them, I think I'd probably seek them out a little more, just to see what's up. So I think it would be kind of cool and kind of useful to have fish on your side. But the people who expected this to be lower on this list forgot about the other ability that Mermaid Peach brings to the table, and that's the ability to breathe underwater. Now, I admit I swim more than the average person, so I do think that it's more appealing to me than it would be to other people, but imagine never having to come up for air when you're swimming.
That would be awesome.
I would be able to do things like perform amazing underwater tricks for people to watch and applaud me, and do things like rescue diving. You have someone trapped underwater and they need help, you send in a literal mermaid. We learned that from The Little Mermaid. They're the best at it. At the end of the day, I just think that it could really be used for a lot of different purposes. And I think that's really why it appeals to me so much and why I think it's one of the more useful skills on this list. But as for the most useful skill on this list, well, I think we can do the process of elimination and determine that it is in fact Mighty Peach. Mighty Peach just may come with the most useful skills of the bunch. The only one that I can't think I'd ever use would be the Giant Peach mode, which is not something I see needing in my life ever, but hey, who knows? I might need to fight Godzilla at some point. But otherwise, Mighty Peach is able to practice self-defense through her mighty punches. She's able to lift incredibly heavy objects, so things like dog food and cat food would be no problem. And she's able to fly with the jetpack. So this is pretty much the closest thing you will get to being a superhero, so of course that would be the most useful. If I could lift the amount of weight that Mighty Peach could lift, then I would never need help moving ever again. I would be able to lift my own bed frame, just walk it down the stairs.
I have the power!
And admittedly, the jetpack doesn't seem to come with hover abilities like Radiant Peach does, but you can still fly with it. And I definitely think it would be an incredibly useful thing to have. Just at the end of the day, I think that Mighty Peach has the most skills and abilities that can be transferred over into the real world. And, yeah, that's it, folks. I really didn't know what to expect going into this list, and I flip-flopped a lot when I made these choices. The writing of this list was very difficult for me.
This is so hard.
But looking back over it, I feel pretty confident in this order, and I feel pretty happy with the decisions I've made. Of course, this order is only based on what I think would be the most useful, so if you disagree, let me know. Tell me your order, what you think would be the most useful, and why. I'm always happy to hear your comments and your opinions. Let me know. And thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. I would just like to say, if you made it this far, thank you so much for joining me today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you hated this video, hit that dislike button. And either way, hit subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Yo, come back now, you hear?